all my courses are done, you know, in person, but also, remotely. And so I have to set a phone alarm, just so I remember to hit the record button.
I really should. That's a good idea. I should do that because it's criminal. Everybody has to remind me all the time. And you think by now I'd remember, but talk about a boofaroony. But it's crazy. Well, I guess I could start giving the introduction. We're so glad to have Angela and Fritz and everybody here. We, of course, had hoped, and everybody can hear me okay? Okay, good. Um, of course, we would much rather be doing this at Adam's Music House. That was the whole intention, and also having fine snacks and getting to really know everybody. But obviously, we can't do that. We are going to have her final performance, so save the date, December 20th. I don't think we fixed the time because, again, we're hoping that you can come up. But, we'll work it out one way or the other. There's still some time for that. And we're so happy that she's playing these Moszkowski pieces. They're really special. We're going to hear the famous Horowitz encore, the Etincelle, today, and she's really playing it well. Fritz, you've done a great job with her on that so far. And you've done a great job too, Angela. It's not just Fritz, obviously, but it's going to be exciting to hear that, and she's going to do some Mozart and some Chopin as well. But, we have a really great collection of music that Joe's father had amassed, and we really want to get it out there. There's some special things that people don't always know, and so these fellowships are a chance for people to learn and for them to share it with us. So part of her final presentation in December is going to be a discussion of Moszkowski as well. And so that's going to be great. She doesn't have to talk about him today. And so Adam's Music House, I'm actually giving more private lessons during the quarantine than I was before. Go figure, right? Zoom lessons are popular. But, we want to be an educational as well as a community resource, as well as the collection. This is something we really want to do. It's harder to share and disseminate the collection since nobody can come over right now, but this is an important part of it that Angela is doing this. This is very, very important for us. So I think I'll let Fritz say a few words right now. Here we go.
There I see myself. Well, anyway, I just, basically want to thank, Joe Bratcher and Tony Tobin for all the wonderful work that they're doing, making the Adams Music House available to the whole community, not just Austin, but also it reaches further to Laredo, and then, the Wednesday evening concerts that you guys have been giving. I mean, I've been seeing people from all over the country, maybe even around the world, but, but at least I've seen people from, I think, the East Coast and so forth, Florida. But but thank you to both of you for making this organization possible. It's really benefited two of my students. Enrique did it this last year, and then of course Angela is doing it this year, and both extremely talented students, and so deserving of the fellowships that they both got and are getting. And so I mean, to have this sort of organization that does so much, and at least for my students, allows them to gives them an opportunity to study a composer, study a composer's works, and a composer that they, my cat is saying hello, that they don't know necessarily. I think Angela knew about Moszkowski, but she's going to definitely know a lot more about him and his music, by the time this is over. And so, I'm very happy for my students, and it makes me happy. And anyway, I think it's a great service that you guys are doing. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you. It's been great, that you've been able to help us with this. And of course, we've enjoyed having the Laredo Student Masterclass for 2 or 3 times now. And of course, we can't really do it this year, unfortunately, which is, disappointing. But, Enrique was great with the Metner, and Angela's going to be great with this Moszkowski. And it's nice that we can go down into Laredo, too, that there can be this connection, that it's not just in Austin, that it can be a broader connection as well. Well, why don't we hear Angela and then we'll have more discussion and you can ask her some questions because this is, after all, a meet and greet.
Do I have to announce the piece? Should I?
That would be helpful. Yeah. Yeah, that would be.
So my first piece is going to be the classic Mozart sonata that everyone knows, and probably most people have played it before. Okay. My second piece is going to be the famous Chopin Nocturne in C sharp minor, and it's probably you'll probably know it once you hear it. last piece is going to be the Moszkowski piece. It's one of the pieces I'm going to play for the fellowship, and it is the famous Horowitz encore. It's called the Etincelles. Yes.
Yay!
Oh,
Yay! Yay! That's great. It sounds so good.
beautiful.
And you make it sound so easy, and we know it's not. No, really, that's great work. You're going to do really well with the rest of the Moszkowski pieces. Now, just for everybody's edification, what are the other Moszkowski pieces you'll play in December?
Okay, so one is of course the Etincelles, and then I'm going to play a waltz. It's the longest piece, it's 7 minutes about. And then I'm going to play two of his other etudes. One is in C major, and the other is in A flat major.
Hmm. Very good. Yeah, it's going to be a great program. Moszkowski, well, it's pretty cool stuff, isn't it?
Mm.
You obviously like playing this piece now.
Yes.
Was it very hard once you got started, or how did you find learning it?
It was really tricky in the beginning because of all the
Hmm.
and then there were a lot of repeated notes, and then the runs like that, all of those were also kind of hard. I wasn't really expecting those to be as hard as they were,
Hmm.
mostly because um, mostly because I usually don't have a lot of trouble doing runs, so that was something hard in the Etincelles. And then the other ones are like they're still really hard too, but mostly it's the runs. The Moszkowski runs are really hard.
They're kind of awkward in the hand, right?
Oh yes, they're very awkward, and
They don't
sometimes
really
the hand placement is like
hmm.
really weird because he does a lot of crossing and stuff that you have to play in between your hands.
Right. Right. Well, you don't make it sound like it's hard at all. Which of course is how it's supposed to be. And it's actually, it seems like a short piece, but it's quite a few pages, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's like it's what 16 pages,
Yeah, it's
20.
crazy. I mean, imagine having to learn all that and then play it in such a small period of time. You know, it's that's a lot of us pianists are kind of like, all right, that's a lot of work. I don't think I'm. So really, that's a real achievement that you're able to play it this way. This is really exciting. And of course, the Chopin, that's a piece that many, many people know, and you played that very nicely. And of course, everybody who's played the piano for very long has played the Mozart, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
You know, that's when I used to play in church for 15 years, I would often throw that out as an offertory because it was just, you know, and it went over well. I think it was pious enough, so it was, you know, it worked all right. But it was a lot of fun. But do you have any other, I mean, you don't have to say much about Moszkowski today, but do you have any other observations or comments before we move on to other topics?
Well, Moszkowski, I've just noticed about that awkward hand placement, and sometimes he puts like notes where I really can't physically play them in one hand, so I have to kind of alter. Like
Mhm.
for example, I'm supposed to be playing that in my
Right.
right hand alone, but I have to, kind of adjust.
Redistribute.
Yes, it's really
And that's
hard.
that is so important for pianists.
Mhm.
That you've learned this by this age I mean, that's huge. I mean, because I'm actually for the first time finally finishing the Scriabin Fifth Sonata, and he's another one that isn't so easy to play the patterns. And I find myself redistributing all the time. I like to have several editions of something. So I have these 3 editions, and they all do it a certain way, but I'm doing it in my own way because we have to find what works, right?
Mhm.
And it's individual for everybody. You know, these scores are really just a suggestion of what we're going to do.
Yes.
It's regardless, you know. I mean, dynamics and things are pretty strong prescriptions, but you know, there's a range of things. And so I think that's so great that you've discovered that because that's a very, very useful skill. Well, you know, again, this is kind of do you have any other observations you want to make? I mean, we want to get to know you, so what can you tell us about you? I mean, how old you are, what grade you're in, what you like to do. You know, you live in Laredo, obviously.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll start off with how old I am. I'm 16. I just turned 16 a while ago. I'm a junior in high school, and I go to Alexander High School in Laredo, Texas. So that's the basic information about me.
Hmm. You like playing the piano?
Oh, yes, definitely.
How many hours? I mean, I know you've got a lot to do. How many hours do you think you get to practice? And I know Fritz is going to cover his ears during this.
I mean, I try to practice at least an hour and a half every day. I've been doing that for a while. Sometimes if I do have time, I'll do like 2 hours, a little
Mhm.
more. Once I even practice like 6 hours in a day because
Right.
of quarantine. Like we have more time, so I try to practice as much as I can.
Hmm. Well, and to learn a piece like that, you have to put in the time. It's about exposure and practice, isn't it?
Mm.
And so that, but still, that's impressive that with an hour and a half to 2 hours that you can achieve all that. That's good, you know. I mean, that's why some of us play the piano because we can get it without, you know, killing ourselves all day. Um, so, what other activities do you enjoy? I think you told me you're in the band.
Oh yes, I'm in band. I'm in band. I play the euphonium. I'm drum major, so I get to wave my hands around.
Wow.
It's actually not as easy as it looks. So that's something that I am in, and I'm also in a couple of UILs. That's like an academic activities, and I do a bunch of like community service around. So I'm in a bunch of organizations. Like in one organization, I tutor Chinese people so that they can be better at English. So I can,
Ooh,
so I can help and give back to the community.
that's great. That's great. So your Chinese must be pretty good then.
I hope so. I mean, it's my first language.
Right, right. Well, that's great. No, it's so nice to be community minded. That's so important. And I know with schools, how is it? Are you going to classes at all, or is it all online, all Zoom now?
It's all online. We do it through Google Meets.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is it okay?
I mean, it gets really tiring, and during my last class, my last period, I kind of feel feverish. My eyes go all, hot, and I'm just like, oh.
How many hours have you been every day on the computer for it?
I mean, since 8:45 all the way until like 4.
Oh my,
But
oh,
we take mini
oh,
breaks. Yeah,
that's horrible though. I think my eyes would fall out of my head if it were that long. I mean,
yeah, it's
I've gotten a lot more accustomed to Zoom lessons. And in fact, whereas before the pandemic, I would have said never, ever, I think you actually can get a lot done with them. But still, it's tiring because we're using different things than we would if we were, talking to people in person, So well, I'm impressed. That's a long day. Good grief.
Yes. And thank you to the teachers. Like the teachers have to work super hard for us because they have to, make our assignments and grade every single one.
Right.
And then they also have to be on Zoom for a very long time and sometimes they stay after school, before school to help us.
Right.
So the teachers have it worse. It's really terrible sometimes.
It's an ordeal. We all hope that this is going to be over sooner than later. We really do. In the meantime, we all have to be safe, of course. And of course, we really want you to come up in December. We really want to have you in person. Though it's nice. I know there are probably people here today who couldn't have been otherwise, and I'm very happy that they're all here today. This is really, this is one good thing. We have to try to see the good in things, right? There is some good out of all of this. And I don't know, Fritz, do you have anything you want to add? And then I'm going to ask Joe if he wants to add something too. But Fritz, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Well,
You don't have to, but I just thought I'd.
well, I didn't know that you tutored people in English. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just say that you did an excellent job. Yeah.
Thanks to you and your help and Dr. Tobin too.
Oh heavens!
Wow.
Well, you're so much fun to teach. It's a joy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I feel lucky.
Yeah, that's great. Joe, did you want to add anything?
All I can say is that if you guys could help me from now until doomsday, and it would, I wouldn't be able to do that. So, I think Angela has a lot to do with it, and I'm really, really pleased that she is working with Adams Music House as a recipient and on the Moszkowski, and it seems to be coming along just fabulously, and I'm hoping against hope that you'll be able to come up and play one of the Bosendorfers before December 20th, and then come up for a small, type of recital just before Christmas. But again, thank you so much for working so hard, and we're thrilled to have you as recipient of the Adams Music House Fellowship.
Yeah,
Much.
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, would anybody who's watching like to say anything or ask any questions? You feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, Angela. My name is David. And in some of those passages on the last piece, you seem to really attack your piano. And I was just wondering, do you hate your piano?
No. No, it's just a piece. I promise. My piano is my baby. I love it so much.
I bet you were hoping to make sure that you get them, that you wouldn't miss them. Because that's a lot of jumping around.
Yeah.
Your piano sounded really good today. The sound was very decent, at least from where I'm sitting.
Wow, great. Because it's so out of tune. It bothers me so much every single day. But I'm glad it sounded good.
Yeah, well, I think the sound checks helped. And, the connection, whatever you did with the connection, it was better than during our first sound check, too. So, and, you guys, since you're taking these piano lessons really seriously with Dr. Gector, you might think about investing in a microphone. I mean, we can't get the Blue Yetis anymore because they've been so popular. But I actually found this Mano on Amazon, and it was like $70, something like that. And, it's decent. And it really does improve the overall, since you're using a laptop, you could plug it right in. It really does improve the overall sound. So,
Same one, actually.
Pardon?
I have the exact same one.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and my students can suddenly hear me so much better.
That's good. Well, it helped. We have to do all that we can, you know. But your sound really was fine. You communicated very, very well. That wasn't a problem. But if you wanted to take it to the next level, that's something to think about.
Okay, because I also am in band, so we have like all state and some other I guess competitions and
Hmm.
tryouts for like the bands and stuff. And so I have to record myself and then send it to them. So maybe I should probably.
I would. Well, you know, it's fairly inexpensive, and I think the difference in sound is really worth it. You know, because you just don't know with these computer microphones. They're not designed for much. Certainly not for piano, which is the recording engineers. Whenever I've struggled to try to make a CD, they always say the piano is the hardest instrument to record. So there we go. Except maybe the organ, since that's so huge. But yeah. Well, great. Anybody else like to say something?
I won't bite. No one will bite.
And you don't have to. She won't bite. No. But no, it really excellent playing. Really, you've really taken this to heart, and we're really, really pleased about that. That's the whole point. Is that you'll get something out of this. We hope you can use some of these pieces for competitions or auditions for things or performances. I mean, and she will at the completion. She'll receive $1,000 as well. So there's a little bit of something with that, and there's some publicity as well. So. We want to try, we want to promote the library, but we really want to try to help you out. So, great. Well, if there's nothing else.
Playing.
Pardon?
That was good playing. Thanks.
Oh, John, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to have you. Yeah, John took a lot of lessons as a kid, too. And actually plays rather well, but he
Thanks.
hides with no video.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize there were Chinese in Laredo because I'm Vietnamese.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
sounds
John
like there's a
Smith
lot of
would know it,
Chinese.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah, how big is the Chinese community in Laredo, would you say?
It's not that big. Like I'm one of the only Chinese people in my school. We have like almost 1,000 people.
Wow. Okay.
Well, at least there's some.
Yeah.
Like one or two more.
Yeah.
And I don't really know anybody. I just know I'm like the only person out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to see everybody. Good to see John Piper, my former neighbor, too, from Town Oaks in Austin, and everybody.
Yeah. If you want to join, I have a Central Texas Facebook piano group too. So, yeah, I have pieces on there that I've been working on, and I'll post it on there too. So in case anyone else wants to play them.
Well, okay. Well, great. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, Angela, in closing?
Well, I mean, just to stay safe and always wear a mask if you go outside and try to stay at home and, be hydrated.
Because you really haven't, you said your parents have been very careful with you, right? You haven't really gone anywhere.
I haven't been outside for weeks, like, not for weeks, seriously.
That's hard. That's really hard. Yeah, I think it's harder on people, your school age. I mean, it's bad for adults, but for you guys, it's a pity. But you seem to be handling it really well, I have to say. You seem to be thriving, so this is excellent. And we look forward to having you back in some form, preferably in person, in December.
Definitely.
So one more round of applause. And thanks so much. We'll be in touch. Our next event will be our Wednesday concert, and Gabe Baker will be coming. And then later in the month, I'm really excited, someone who he did a run-through for his senior recital with Greg Allen at UT. He's going to come on the 30th and actually improvise. He's going to ask for notes from the audience and then make up a tune based on that. So this is something we haven't had before, so I think this is going to be kind of interesting. And then we're going to have actually classical cello on the 23rd. So this is Wednesday nights at 6. We'd love to have some of you for that. Just our Zoom concerts. All right. Take care, everybody.
Congratulations, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.